best decision I ever made was coming back to the farm 3 days before the zombie outbreak. The old classmate who ran the hardware store in town laughed at me, saying, "A college graduate coming back to farm, what a disgrace." Who would have guessed that 72 hours later, this rundown farm everyone looked down on would become the only safe haven for miles around? And even more unexpected, that hardware store owner who mocked me would kneel outside the farm gate begging for shelter. And this home my grandpa left me would become the most terrifying weapon in the apocalypse. It was early June, 3 days before the grain in ear solar term, when I stood at the Green Hill Town bus station with my suitcase. My phone still had the last message from the company HR, severance pay deposited, best wishes. 28 years old, unemployed, savings nearly gone. That was my situation, Zhang Yuan. The farm was in a valley west of town. 8 kilometers of winding dirt road, and no taxi was willing to go to such a remote place. I had to hitch a ride on a villager's three-wheeler, bouncing all the way, dust flying everywhere, covering my mouth and nose. The bitterness in my heart was even more choking than the dust on the road. 3 months ago, my grandpa passed away. What he left me was this 30-acre farm, and one piece of advice: if you can't make it in the city, come back and farm. Back then, I was still working as a product manager at an internet company in the provincial capital, earning $15,000 a month. I thought I had a bright future ahead. Who knew the company would go under overnight, and the entire department would be laid off at once? The farm gate was made of rusty sheet metal. Pushing it open made a harsh screeching sound. The sight before me made me gasp. Weeds waist-high, completely swallowing the original path. The old house, over 100 years old, had several visible cracks in its mud walls. The roof tiles were sparse, revealing the beams inside. The storage shed was leaning to one side, half the door missing. The 30 acres of rice paddies were completely abandoned, last year's stubble still there, overgrown with foxtail grass. The fish pond's water level had dropped more than a meter, exposing black sludge that stank of rot. I set down my luggage and plopped onto the stone bench by the gate. This was what I had inherited? My phone rang. It was Mom. "Did you get there? How's the farm?" "It's fine," I lied. "Good. Your grandpa will watch over you from heaven." "Oh, the local tea samples. Uncle Wong had to play chess the day before yesterday. Suddenly he's waiting for you." After hanging up, I looked at this ruin of a farm. I only had 10 days. Either give up now, head back to the city and keep sending out resumes, or grit my teeth and at least give it a try. I stood up and walked into the old house. Dust hit me in the face, making me sneeze several times. All of Grandpa's things were still there. On the desk lay his reading glasses, and next to them a thick diary. I opened it to the first page, which read, March 15th, 1990. Sowed seeds today. The dense handwriting recorded 30 years of planting details. When to sow, when to fertilize, how much rain fell, what the harvest was like. Every page was written neatly, like an agricultural textbook. What shocked me most was a hand-drawn topographical map tucked inside the diary. Detailed every feature of the farm. The terrain surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, the only entrance on the east, the course of the underground river to the west, and even the soil quality of each field. In a corner of the map, Grandpa had marked in red ink, the western underground river swells during heavy rains in the rainy season. There is a wooden sluice gate under the old locust tree upstream that can control the flow. This place is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides with only one pass. There's an underground river to the west. In times of trouble, it can ensure safety. What was Grandpa thinking? The last page of the diary was dated a week before his death. "You honor, if you're reading this, it means you've come back. This land will not disappoint those who treat it well. Check the upstream sluice gate regularly. It could save your life in a critical moment." Critical moment? What critical moment? I shook my head. Grandpa had been a bit confused in his later years, always saying strange things. The next morning, I drove Grandpa's old Dongfanghong tractor into town. That thing had to be at least 20 years old. When I started it, black smoke billowed, and the diesel engine's clatter was deafening. Everyone in town recognized that tractor. Seeing me driving it, they started murmuring, "Isn't that old Zhang's grandson? I heard he couldn't make it in the city. A college graduate coming back to farm. What a shame." I drove past them with a blank expression and stopped in front of the farming supply store. The owner's wife smiled her professional smile. "Little Zhang, buying seeds? Seeds are cheap this year. No one from the city wants to come back to farm. They say there's some kind of contagious disease." "What disease?" "I don't know, but the provincial capital is being very strict about it." "How much do you need?" I did the math, 30 acres, 150 caddies of seeds per acre, 4,500 caddies. "That much? Can you manage it all by yourself?" "Let's give it a try." After buying seeds, I got compound fertilizer, pesticide, and 20 liters of diesel. I've spent most of the money. I'm pushing a handcart, ready to leave. "Zhang Yuan." A voice comes from the hardware store. I turn and see high school classmate Wang Chong leaning on the counter, a sneer on his face. "Heard you got laid off." "Ah, ha 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 ha. See, I told you. What's the point of all that schooling? You still end up back farming. If your grandpa knew his grandson turned out like this, he'd roll over in his grave." I ignore him and keep pushing the cart. "Wait up." Another voice calls out to me. It's Sister Zhao from the vet station. She's in her 40s, very kind. She hands me a paper packet. This is snake repellent powder. There are lots of snakes in the mountains. Sprinkle it around the house. And this insect repellent. Mix it with water and spray. Thanks, Sister Zhao. Your grandpa was a good man. He helped me a lot back in the day. If you need anything, just say so. Don't be polite. I get back to the farm by dusk. I sit alone on a stone bench, eating instant noodles, flipping through Grandpa's diary. According to his notes, transplanting rice seedlings must be done before grain in ear. Spacing between seedlings is 20 centimeters, depth 3 fingers. Fertilize early in the morning while the dew is still wet, that way the nutrients absorb better. Weeds must be pulled out by the roots. Otherwise, they'll sprout again with the spring breeze. Looking at these meticulous records, I suddenly understand Grandpa. He devoted his entire life to this land. Every word is his blood and sweat. 10 o'clock at night, I hear dogs barking in waves, one after another. Dogs barking in the countryside is normal, but tonight something's off. They're barking frantically, like they're warning about something. Then suddenly all the dogs go silent. Dead silence. This kind of quiet sends chills down my spine. My phone buzzes. It's a message from my college roommate. A blurry video, like someone secretly filming a hospital entrance. A sea of people. Someone is collapsed on the ground, convulsing. People around are screaming. I'm about to ask what's going on, but the video gets recalled. What's wrong? I type. He replies with 2 words. Run. Then nothing. Messages won't send. Just keep spinning. Bad signal in the mountains is normal. I don't think much of it, but something feels off. I remember that line from Grandpa's diary. In critical moments, it could save your life. I grab a flashlight and head out in the dark toward West Mountain. Following the map markings, I walk a small path for about 20 minutes. Sure enough, I see a huge locust tree. Weeds are thick under the tree. I clear them with a hoe and reveal a wooden gate. The gate is old, the wood darkened, but the structure seems intact. Next to it is a rusty iron ring. It should be for pulling the gate open. I try pulling. It doesn't budge. Looks like it needs serious repair. I take a few photos with my phone. Note down the location. I don't know what it's for, but Grandpa's words are always right. Back at the old house, I lie down on Grandpa's bed, smelling the familiar straw mat scent. The moonlight outside the window is bright. I can see the mountains in the distance. This land, this farm. Maybe it really can become my new beginning. The next day, I get up early. I'm about to start clearing the rice paddies when I step outside and hear car horns from the direction of the town. Not just 1 or 2 cars, but many, and they're getting closer. I climb onto the roof and look toward the town. A long line of vehicles on the highway is speeding by, kicking up massive dust clouds. Leading them are a few SUVs, followed by all kinds of private cars, a dozen or so in total. They're driving fast, urgent, like they're fleeing. My heart sinks. That's it. By the 3rd day of the outbreak, the town started running out of food and water. All communications went completely dead. Some people stormed the supermarket. They looted all the food. Shelves were knocked over. Screaming and crying echoed through the streets. I rode my bike into town to get supplies, but at every intersection, people had set up roadblocks. They clutched knives and clubs, eyes full of hostility. The neighbor next door was smiling and waving at me just yesterday. Today, for a few bags of grain, he stood at my door with a knife, his gaze cold and terrifying. I tightened my grip on the hoe, back against the gate of Grandpa's old house. My palms were sweating. Only one thought remained in my mind. Who can I still trust? And who will make the first move? This is the dawn of the 3rd day. At 6:30, I rode my old bicycle into town to get breakfast. Normally at this time, the market would be bustling with noise, steam from the bun shop, the smell of pancake stalls, the sound of haggling. That was the usual chaos. But today it was deathly silent. The metal shutter of the bun shop was tightly closed. The pancake stall was empty. Only a few stray cats were rummaging through the trash. I pushed my bike forward, the clear sound of my shoes hitting the pavement. Zhang Yuan. The voice startled me. It was Aunt Lee from the grocery store. She was frantically stuffing rice into a burlap sack, sweat all over her forehead. Aunt Lee, go back. Don't stay in town. She didn't look up, her hands still digging into the sack. What's going on? Something happened at the town hospital last night. Dr. Lu and the others, they're all gone. Her voice trembled. Those patients, they were biting people. Biting for real. Then the roar of car engines came from the camera. A dozen cars with out-of-state plates crashed into town, completely ignoring pedestrians. The lead SUV smashed straight through the gas station barrier. The driver jumped out and ran for the pump. His hands shook violently. He dropped the nozzle twice before grabbing it. Other vehicles surrounded the convenience store. Doors flew open as people rushed in to loot. Water bottles, instant noodles, cookies, medicine, grabbing anything they could. Shelves toppled, glass shattered. Wang Chong burst out of the hardware store. What are you doing? You have to pay. A middle-aged man shoved him. Money? We're about to lose our lives. What good is money? Just then I saw it. The rear door of the last car was open. A middle-aged man in a hospital gown tumbled out. He lay on the ground, then slowly stood up. The way he stood was weird, not like a normal person. His upper body leaned forward, arms hanging limp. Like a marionette being pulled up. He started walking, each step stiff, feet dragging on the ground with a scraping sound. "Old Wang," someone recognized him. "Aren't you in the hospital?" The man in the hospital gown suddenly lifted his head. I saw his face clearly. His skin was gray-white, like a corpse that had been soaking in water for a long time. His eyes were open, but his pupils were dilated, unfocused. Worst of all, his mouth was open. Black blood dripped from the corners, and I could see shreds of meat stuck between his teeth. He suddenly lunged at the nearest woman, moving faster than the sluggish person from moments ago. He bit down on her arm, tearing off a piece of flesh. A scream ripped through the morning calm. Blood splattered 3 meters away, pooling on the ground, on the wall, on the faces of those nearby. The crowd erupted, scattering in all directions. Some ran for cars, some ducked into shops, some fled into alleys. The bitten woman collapsed to the ground, convulsing, blood gushing from the wound. The man in the hospital gown ignored the fleeing crowd. He crouched and continued tearing at the fallen woman. That sound, the crunch of bones, the ripping of flesh, and the low growl from his throat. The word zombie escaped my lips. Scenes from movies were playing out right in front of me. My legs trembled, but common sense told me to run. Wang Chong. I rushed into the hardware store. Barbed wire, nails, hammers. Grab as much as you can. Wang Chong was still stunned. What are you saying? That thing outside. I didn't have time to explain. I jumped over the counter and started stuffing things into bags. Barbed wire, shovels, hammers, nails, screwdrivers, wrenches, whatever was useful, I grabbed it. Zhang Yuan, take me with you. Sister Zhao ran in carrying a medical bag, her face pale. The town hospital is overrun. There are biting maniacs everywhere. Dr. Lu was bitten, and then he started biting others. Get on the cart. I threw the supplies onto the cart. Wang Chong, you coming or not? Wang Chong glanced at the chaos outside, then at us. Wait, let me grab some stuff. He ran to the back room and came out with tools and a few machetes. The three of us pushed the cart along the side road, escaping. Taking the back road was the right call. The main road was total chaos. Screams, crashing sounds, and that beast-like roaring all mixed together. The back road was narrow, only wide enough for one cart. On both sides were fields. The rice hadn't been planted yet, it was just water. Then I suddenly remembered something. Wang Chong, you know how to fix things, right? No kidding, I run a hardware store. Follow me, hurry. I led them around to the West Mountain. Time is tight, but this needs to be done now. Under the old locust tree, I pointed at the wooden frame. Help me fix it. Hurry. Wang Chong checked it. The hinges are rusty, and the wood has some surface rust. But the main structure is fine. Give me 20 minutes. He really is professional. He reinforced key parts with wire, oiled the hinges, and patched a few holes in the boards. What is this thing? Sister Zhao asked. Something to keep us alive. I said it was left by my grandfather. Close the gate. We continued on our way. Sister Zhao said as she walked, from a medical perspective, if it's a viral infection, transmitted through bites, the incubation period should be very short. Those people's symptoms are like rabies, but it attacks too fast. Whatever it is, Wang Chong carried his toolbox. Surviving is what matters. Back at the farm, I immediately closed the main gate and reinforced it with wire. From now on, this is our shelter. I looked at them and said, the rules are simple. Share supplies, divide labor, follow orders. Agree and you stay. Disagree and you can leave now. Wang Chong was the first to raise his hand. I agree. Outside is insane, I don't want to get bitten. Sister Zhao nodded. I'm a doctor, needed everywhere, and I brought a lot of medicine. It's all veterinary, but in an emergency, humans can use it too. Throughout the afternoon, people gradually fled to the farm. The first was ex-soldier Brother Chun, carrying his paralyzed mother on his back, climbing the mountain path step by step. When he saw us, he knelt down directly. Please take us in. I can work, I can stand guard. I can do anything. My father and the others are from the town. Help if you can. Then came elementary school teacher Zhou Xiao, leading 3 students, all left behind children, whose parents work far away. They hid in the school and only ran out when they heard the commotion outside. Last was Aunt Li and her family of 4, the one loading rice in the morning. Not only did she bring rice, but also pickled vegetables and salted meat, enough to last a long time. By sunset, there were 23 people on the farm. I called everyone together for a meeting, right in the yard. Everyone has seen the situation. Something happened in town. Most likely some kind of infectious disease. We're safe for now, but we don't know how long it will last. What are those things? Someone asked. Zombies, I said directly, or infected. Get bitten and you become one of them. The crowd stirred. Quiet. Brother Chen stepped forward. Panic won't solve anything. Zhang Yuan, what do you say we do? I unfolded my grandfather's topographical map. The farm is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, only one road on the east side. We need to set up defenses on that road, dig trenches, set up barricades. Also, there's a dry riverbed on West Mountain. We can release water if needed. I'll take charge of digging the trenches. Brother Chun said, I'll modify farm tools into weapons. Wang Chong raised his hand. I'll prepare medical supplies. Sister Zhao said, I'll take care of the elderly and children. Teacher Zhou Xiao said, I'll handle meals. Aunt Li patted her chest. Division of labor settled. Everyone move out now. Night fell, The town below was ablaze with fire. No one knew who set it, nor how many people were still alive. I stood at the highest point of the farm, watching the distant flames. Cell phones have completely lost signal. We have no idea what's happening in the outside world. But one thing is clear, the old world has collapsed, and a new world is just beginning. And we must survive. I never thought I would one day witness hundreds of zombies lining up, marching step by step up the mountain path towards my farm. The one at the front of the line wore a torn white coat, his face pale and stiff, vaguely recognizable as Dr. Liu who had delivered medicine to us before. The defensive facilities we hastily built seemed extremely fragile before the horde, like paper scraps about to collapse at any moment. The survivors behind me looked at me, the elderly and children all with terror in their eyes. They were waiting for my orders, and at this moment, only one question filled my mind. We only have 23 people. Can we really hold this? For 7 days, we thought hiding in the mountains would keep us safe. Those 7 days. Every morning at 5, I went down to the paddies to plant rice seedlings, my feet sinking into the mud. That icy sensation shot straight from my soles to my head. I bent over, took a seedling, pushed it into the water at 20-centimeter intervals, then bent again and planted another. My palms were sliced open by the rice leaves, countless tiny cuts that stung fiercely in the muddy water. But I had to finish all 15 acres. This was our hope for survival. The others weren't idle either. Brother Chang led a few able-bodied men to dig 3 trenches on the mountain path, each 2 meters deep and 3 meters wide. Wang Chong turned farm tools into weapons. Sides lashed to bamboo poles became spears, the edges of hoaxes sharpened. Sister Zhao gathered herbs and boiled them into medicine, and even taught everyone about technological breakthroughs. Following Grandpa's diary, we set up obstacles. At 3 turns on the mountain path. The first was piled with rocks, the second with sharpened bamboo stakes, the third with a stack of firewood soaked in diesel. Everyone acted according to the plan. My voice was calm, but only I knew my legs were shaking. This was my first time facing death head-on. Over 200 zombies and only 23 of us, including the elderly and children. The old and weak went to the second floor. Brother Chang started giving orders. Everyone else took their positions. The mountain path was narrow. At its tightest, only 2 people could walk side by side. On both sides were 30-degree slopes covered in loose rocks and thorns. They were walking corpses. Leading them was Dr. Liu. His white coat had turned dark red, covered in bloodstains. His face had completely lost human expression. His mouth hung slightly open, revealing blackened teeth inside. The first line of defense. The zombies in the front row fell straight into the trench, making a dull thud. But the ones behind kept moving forward, stepping on the bodies ahead, slowly filling the trench. "Light it!" I shouted. Wang Chong set fire to the woodpile at the second defense line. Flames shot up, black smoke billowed. The high heat slowed the zombies' movements even more. A few fell directly into the fire, but they didn't scream, they just silently burned. But there were too many of them. The wall of fire was soon breached. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst from my chest. My palms were drenched in cold sweat, making the handle of the hoe slippery. "Zhang Yuan," Sister Zhao suddenly called out. They seemed to be tracking by sound. "Look, they're all moving toward the direction of our voices. Right? Their eyes are all milky gray, they probably can't see. Everyone stay quiet. Wang Chong, get that speaker you fixed." Wang Chong ran back to the warehouse and hauled out a large speaker rigged from a car audio system. I connected my phone and started playing music. The moment the sound blared, I took the speaker and ran to the cliff on the east side of the mountain path, then threw it down with all my strength. The music echoed through the valley. A portion of the zombies veered off the path, walked straight toward the cliff and fell off, but the main force kept advancing. The third defense line was breached. Only 200 meters remained to the farm gate. My legs were trembling, really trembling. Fear flooded over me like a tide. I wanted to run somewhere and hide, to close my eyes and pretend this was all a nightmare. If I had misjudged, all these people would die because of me. That thought nearly broke me. "Zhang Yuan." Wang Chong grabbed my shoulder. "Wake up, think of something. Grandpa's staff. Wang Chong, come with me. Everyone else make noise with gongs and drums, to draw their attention." Wang Chong and I sprinted toward West Mountain. 2 kilometers of mountain path. We made it in under 10 minutes. Under the old locust tree, the staff we had repaired just a few days ago stood silently. "Pull together." We grabbed the iron ring and pulled with all our might. The staff creaked and slowly opened. A roaring sound of water rushed out. A flash flood, the accumulation of 7 days of rain, surged along the pre-dug channel straight toward the third defense line. That was the narrowest part of the mountain path, with steep slopes on both sides, forming a funnel shape. When the flood hit, the swarm of zombies was exactly there. The force of the water was beyond my imagination. The first wave swept the front rows of zombies down the slope. The second wave scattered the middle ranks. The third wave washed away part of the path itself. Most of the zombies were thrown into the valley, shattered against the rocks. The rest were trapped on the opposite bank. The mountain path had become a raging river. I collapsed to the ground, completely drained. My clothes were soaked through with sweat, sticking cold to my body. My hands still trembled, uncontrollably. We survived. The mountain road was completely destroyed. The farm became an isolated island. No supplies, no way back. How long can we hold out? Back at the farm, everyone was waiting for a solution. I said, but the road is gone too. Teacher Zhou is injured. Someone shouted. There was a deep wound on Teacher Zhou Xiao's arm. Blood wouldn't stop flowing. It was scratched by a zombie in the chaos. Not bitten. False alarm. Sister Zhao immediately treated the wound, used herbal medicine to stop the bleeding, then wrapped it with cloth strips. Night fell. The farm fell into a deathly silence. From afar, occasional zombie roars reminded us the crisis wasn't over. They're still on the opposite bank. Maybe they'll always be. I sat on the rooftop, looking at the star-filled sky. In the city, I never saw so many stars. Now there's no light pollution. The Milky Way is clearly visible. You're sitting well. Brother Chung climbed up and handed me a glass of water. I nearly broke down. I told him honestly, when I saw so many zombies, I really wanted to run. But you didn't. Brother Chung sat beside me. Fear is normal. The first time I went to battle, I was scared shitless too. The key is after the fear. What did you do? If I judged wrong, there's no if. Your grandfather's preparations saved us all. He patted my shoulder. Kid, in this world, surviving is victory. The scattered zombies on the opposite bank were still wandering. Under the moonlight, I could see their outlines. Former doctors, teachers, farmers, businessmen. Now they've all become soulless shells. Among them, many familiar faces. Dr. Liu, he delivered medicine to the farm just last week, said he'd come regularly for checkups. The butcher always gave me a few extra ounces of meat, and many, many more. All were living people. I wrote in my grandfather's journal, Day 7 we held. Tomorrow we keep living. Teacher Zhou Xia's wound healed well. Just a zombie scratch, not a bite, but the cracks inside the farm were slowly widening. On the third day after the zombie tide, conflict erupted. Why does he get the same rations? The speaker was a Fei, a 24-year-old from town. He pointed at Brother Chen's mother. The old woman sat in a wheelchair, sunbathing. He's bedridden, needs full-time care every day, can't do any work, and still uses the same resources. Is that fair? A few young people chimed in, yeah. We work ourselves to death, while they lie around and eat their fill. Brother Chen's face turned red. His fists cracked. What did you say? That's my mother. So what if she's your mother? A Fei wasn't backing down. This is the end of the world. Not like before. Useless people don't deserve. He didn't finish. Brother Chen punched him in the face. What did you say? A Fei fell to the ground. Blood gushed from his nose. The other young people immediately surrounded them. Both sides faced off. Enough. I stood in the middle, but the arguing didn't stop. We transplant rice seedlings and weed every day. Our backs can't straighten up. A strong laborer said. We should get more rations. Then teaching the kids to read and do math isn't important? Teacher Zhou Xia retorted. Without education, what will the children become? It's the apocalypse, why bother studying? Precisely because it's the apocalypse we need to study more. Otherwise, what's the difference from beasts? Sister Zhao also joined the argument. My medical skills are priceless, but how do you measure that? Quiet. Conflicts over living habits were also brewing. Water is so precious. And you guys still shower every day. How can we live without showering? It stinks. The city people retorted. Diesel needs to be saved, not used to charge your phones. There's important data on the phones. It's the apocalypse, what do you need data for? I watched all this. My heart ached. The first roundtable meeting. Location, the barn. Everyone sat in a circle. In the middle, an oil lamp. I took out my grandfather's ledger. Turned to the 1960 records. The Great Famine of 1960. This farm fed 48 people. More than we have now. The ledger was covered in dense handwriting, recording every day's distribution. Grandpa used a workpoint system, but it wasn't just physical labor that counted. I flipped through the detailed records. Taking care of a patient for a day was 3 points. Teaching a child to read for a day was 3 points. Standing guard at night was 4 points a day. Cooking and washing clothes was 3 points. Working in the summer fields was 5 points. Every job had value. My mother stood up first. Even though she was paralyzed, she could weave straw sandals 3 points a day. She mended all your torn shoes. Doesn't that count as a contribution? The old man trembled as he raised the straw sandal in his hand. I can still weave baskets and shoes. A Fei lowered his head. Lise Hen also stood up. I run the canteen. I cook different dishes every day, adding a bit of lard to the wild vegetable soup. I make the millet porridge soft and thick so everyone can at least get it down. Doesn't that count as a contribution? I gather herbs, Sister Zhao said. Even though they don't work right away, they might save a life when it counts. I repair tools, Wang Chong said, his head bowed. Even the broken knives got fixed by me. Teacher Zhou looked at a Fei. Yesterday you asked me how to write a character. I taught you. Doesn't that count as a contribution? A Fei's face turned even redder. I took a deep breath and spoke from the heart. Yesterday, when we faced the horde, I nearly broke down. Everyone was watching me. I was terrified. Over 200 zombies, and I was responsible for 23 lives. If I made a wrong call, you all would have died because of me. That fear crushed me. I wanted to run away, to give up, to close my eyes and pretend it was all a nightmare. But seeing you all trust me, support me, that's what kept me going. I didn't save everyone. Everyone saved everyone. Silence. Brother Chen broke the silence first. Xiao Zhang is right. We've survived this long because of all of us. I'm sorry. A Fei suddenly said. Brother Chen, Auntie, I'm sorry. I was just too scared. Supplies are running out. I'm afraid for my child. Brother Chen's mother said gently. Being scared is normal. I'm scared too. I pulled out a new notebook. Starting today, we'll set up a new distribution system. Basic rations for everyone equal to ensure survival. Extra supplies based on contribution points. Agreed? Brother Chen raised his hand. Agreed. Aunt Li raised her hand. Agreed. One by one, everyone raised their hands. After the meeting, I recorded the division of labor in detail. The farming team handled transplanting rice seedlings and weeding. The defense team handled guard duty, patrols, and maintaining fortifications. The logistics team handled cooking, laundry, and cleaning. The medical team handled gathering herbs, treatment, and sanitation. The education team handled teaching the children to read and write. The repair team handled fixing tools and modifying equipment. The next day, the new system went into effect. Every morning, I recorded the previous day's work points. Who transplanted how many seedlings, who stood guard for how many hours, who taught how many children. Everything was clear. Gradually, complaints decreased. People began to understand that, in the apocalypse, everyone had value. The transplanting went fast. We finished 15 mu in half a month. I taught everyone the proper method. The seedlings had to be planted straight 3 fingers deep. Too shallow and they'd float. Too deep and they wouldn't grow. Fertilize in the early morning while the dew was still wet, so the plants absorbed it better. Weeds had to be pulled out by the roots. I remembered Grandpa saying, if you don't pull the roots, the spring breeze will bring them back. For pest control, we used folk methods: soak tobacco leaves in water, mix in wood ash, and spray it on the rice paddies. It wasn't as effective as pesticides, but it was better than nothing. The fish pond came back to life too. We released the fry we'd brought from town. It wasn't enough, but at least there was hope. In the vegetable patch, we planted fast-growing greens. Bok choy could be harvested in 20 days, radishes in 45 days, and chives grew back after cutting. A month later, the first batch of bok choy was ready. That night, everyone sat around the yard. Aunt Li made bok choy soup. It was only seasoned with salt, but it was our own grown vegetables. So delicious, Wang Chong said, taking a big gulp. Better than any delicacy, Sister Zhao said with a smile. Fei held his bowl. Walking up to Brother Chen, Brother Chen, I'm really sorry about what happened last time. Brother Chen patted him on the shoulder. It's all in the past. We're a family now. Yeah, a family, Brother Chen's mother said, looking at everyone with kindness. In this world, we only have each other. Moonlight spilled across the yard, illuminating every face. Some were laughing, some were crying, some quietly drinking their soup. The conflicts weren't completely resolved, maybe they never would be, but at least we'd learned to coexist. In the apocalypse, that was enough. I wrote in my journal, Day 30, we're still together. The rainy season came earlier than usual. It rained nonstop for 2 weeks straight. At first, it was a light drizzle. Then it turned into a downpour, and finally it was like the sky had sprung a leak. The old house's mud walls began to crumble, chunk by chunk. The roof leaked and we caught the drips with basins, a constant pinging and drumming. But that wasn't the worst of it. The worst was, the floodwaters we'd released earlier to stop the zombies had washed out the mountain paths and clogged the original drainage system. The low-lying areas of the farm started to flood. At first, just small puddles, then ponds. Now they were about to swallow the rice paddies. The rice had just begun to head, but now it was submerged. In 2 more days, the roots would rot. 5 acres of rice paddies, that was our hope for survival. If we lost it all, we had to find a way to drain the water. Brother Chen stood in the water, which was already up to his knees. Wang Chong looked grim. The roads below are all destroyed. Even worse, the days of torrential rain had triggered signs of a landslide. Several spots on West Mountain were already collapsing. If a mudslide really hit, the entire farm would be buried. I dug through Grandpa's diary and finally found an entry from 1975. July 1975. During the heavy rain, we activated the underground drainage channels. The farm was saved. Underground channels? What channels? I kept flipping and found a yellowed blueprint, carefully wrapped in plastic. The blueprint showed the farm's underground drainage system. A main channel started from the bottom of the bathing pond, ran under the farm, and finally led east into the mountains. There were also several branch channels, so the farm had a complete underground drainage system. I said excitedly, then why can't we use it? Sister Zhao asked. 50 years, I said, looking at the date on the blueprint. It must be completely clogged. We had to clear it within 72 hours, or not only would the rice paddies be destroyed, but the old house would collapse too. And so we began a race against time. First step, find the entrance to the underground channels. According to the blueprint, the entrance was at the bottom of the bathing pond. But the pond was full of water and silt. We couldn't even see the bottom. Pump the water out, I said. We had no pump, so we had to use buckets, scooping water out 1 bucket at a time. 23 of us. Everyone except the elderly and children joined in. The rain kept falling. We scooped, and the rain poured back in. This won't work, Wang Chong said. We're scooping out less than what's coming in. Then we build a shelter. We used plastic sheeting to make a simple canopy over the pond, blocking at least some of the rain. We scooped for an entire day, and the water level only dropped 1 meter. The bottom of the pond was exposed. Black mud so deep you couldn't see the bottom. I'm going down, I said. It's too dangerous. Brother Chen stopped me. Someone has to go. The first step, the mud swallowed my calf. Second step, up to my thigh. Third step, waist deep. It was indescribable. Thick, sticky mud, wrapped around my lower body like countless hands pulling at me. Every step took all my strength. One wrong move and I'd be sucked in. I felt around in the mud with my hands. My fingers hit something hard. Found it. A stone wellhead, about 1 meter in diameter. This was the entrance to the underground channel. But the wellhead was completely blocked with mud. Hand me a shovel. I started digging, scooping out mud shovelful by shovelful. The mud was foul and sticky. I piled it to the side as I dug. The others on the bank hauled the mud away in buckets. After 2 hours, I was exhausted. Switch, Brother Chen jumped in. You go up and rest. We took turns like that. Wang Chong, a Fei, and the other able-bodied men, each lasting an hour. Sister Zhao prepared ginger soup on the bank. Anyone coming up immediately wrapped themselves in a blanket and drank ginger soup to prevent hypothermia. By the second day, the entrance to the underground channel was finally clear. But this is only the beginning. 50 years of silt have completely blocked the entire underground drain. We have to clear it section by section. The most dangerous part, I'll go. Everyone fought to volunteer. No, you need to take care of your mother. I said I'll go. Stop arguing. Wang Chong, grab a shovel and come with me. To watch each other's backs. The three of us put on makeshift headlamps made from plastic bags. Climbed into the underground drain. Inside it was pitch black, only the light from the headlamps. The drain was very low, so we had to bend over to move forward. The water was knee-deep, and dirt kept falling from above. Watch out. A loud crash. A section of the drain ahead collapsed. Dust flew everywhere, making us cough uncontrollably. Fall back. Fall back. Quick. We scrambled out. No good. Too dangerous. Dust flew everywhere, making us cough uncontrollably. Fall back. Fall back. We scrambled out. No, it's too dangerous. Dust flying everywhere. Just then, in the torrential rain of the third day's early morning, a car horn sounded. More than a dozen survivors came in the rain. Their car broke down at the foot of the mountain, so they hiked up. The leader was a female police officer, Xiao Lin, wearing her already soaked uniform. Please take us in. She almost shouted. We have nowhere else to go. Following her were more than a dozen people. Among them was a man in his 50s wearing a water conservancy station work uniform. My heart was in turmoil. If I take them in, I'd have to share with more people. But looking at them, shivering in the rain, everyone come in, I said. Thank you, thank you. Xiao Lin was so moved she almost cried. Unexpectedly, the technician from the water conservancy station, Old Cheng, took one look at our project, and immediately pointed out the problem. You're digging in the wrong place. The key nodes of the main channel aren't there. You should start from the southeast corner. He took the blueprints and studied them carefully. This drainage system is cleverly designed, using the natural slope. Just clear a few key nodes, and the water will flow out on its own. Under his guidance, we changed our strategy. Instead of clearing the entire line, we focused our efforts on opening the key nodes, here and here. The whole system came alive. Everyone split into 3 groups working simultaneously. The newcomers also joined the labor. Although it was tiring and dirty, no one complained. On the evening of the third day, the last node was cleared. The sound of flowing water began. The murky accumulated water started to move, flowing through the underground drain toward the mountains. Success. The water slowly receded, revealing the rice paddies. Although some of the rice was flattened, most of it was still alive. And there was a surprise, Old Cheng said with a smile. Look here. He pointed at a spot they had just dug. Clear water was gushing out from a crack in the rock. An underground spring. This is fresh, drinkable water. We gathered around the spring, watching the clear water bubble up. In a water-scarce apocalypse, this is more precious than gold. That night the rain stopped. Moonlight filtered through the clouds and shone on the damp farm. I stood on the roof looking at the receding water, at the saved rice paddies, at the newly discovered spring. This land will repay those who treat it well. Grandpa's words echoed in my ears. Yes, Grandpa, you were right. The shortwave radio that Xiao Lin brought changed everything. This is base 47. Do you copy? Over. Amid the crackling static, replies came in one by one. It turned out there were other survivor bases nearby. Everyone was struggling to hold on. But the radio also brought trouble. Listen. Base 47. A rough voice came through. I'm the boss of the new order. You have 2 choices. Hand over half your supplies, or be wiped out. Xiao Lin's face changed. It's them. The gang of thugs from the county seat. They took over the grain depot in the chaos. How many do they have? At least 30 with weapons. They've already looted several survivor outposts. The farm fell silent. We can't just sit back and wait. Prepare for defense. I said, let them come if they want. Brother Chen immediately started organizing. Everyone split into 3 groups. The first group was responsible for frontal defense, the second for the flanks. The third group was the reserve. Wang Chong started modifying weapons, forging 20 spears from scrap metal. He detached the metal parts of sickles and hoes and tied them to bamboo poles. Crude but sharp enough. Not enough, Wang Chong said. We need more traps using spring water. Old Chun suggested digging pits along the main path, filling them with water, and covering the surface with branches as camouflage. People would sink in as soon as they stepped. Great idea. We got to work immediately. We dug over a dozen traps on the path leading to the farm. But the threat wasn't one time. On the first night, someone was active near the farm. The beam of a flashlight flickered among the trees. They made noise on purpose. They're testing us, Shaolin said, seeing how we react. At 3 in the morning on the second day, a high-power radio station started broadcasting. The volume was loud. It scared the kids into crying. On the third day, they began monitoring from a distant hilltop using binoculars. Every move we made was under their watch. We can't stay passive like this. Brother Chun said we should strike first. No. I shook my head. Let them come. We have the terrain advantage. A week of relentless harassment. Everyone was on edge, taking 24-hour rotating shifts on guard duty. Supplies were depleting faster. What could have lasted 2 months would now only hold out for 1 at this rate. They're wearing us down, Shaolin saw through their strategy. Breaking our will. The first real attack came on a dark, windy night. Over 20 people advanced in 3 groups. The main force feigned a frontal assault to divert our attention, while 5 on each flank tried to circle around over the hills. But they underestimated the wisdom of farmers. The first scream came from the side. Someone had fallen into a trap. Muddy water filled his mouth and nose. Someone else surfaced. Chaos erupted. In the darkness, they couldn't tell where the path was and where the traps were. The frontal assault also hit trouble. The tripwire locks we set on the mountain road sent the lead motorcycles crashing. Riders hit the ground and struggled to get up. Rolling logs, Brother Chen gave the order. The prepped logs came tumbling down the slope, smashing into the enemy ranks. Not lethal, but enough to throw them into disarray. The fight lasted 2 hours. They hadn't expected us to be this prepared. That first attack ended hastily, but they didn't give up. Over the next half-month, the harassment escalated. They contaminated one of our water sources by throwing dead rats into it. Luckily, we caught it in time. No one got poisoned. They tried to set the forest on fire. But days of relentless rain kept the woods damp. The fire wouldn't catch. They even dug up a section of the road, trying to cut off our escape route. Ironically, it only strengthened our defenses. The most intense showdown came during the second attack. This time they came prepared. They even brought homemade explosives. A loud bang. A gap was blown open in the farm's outer wall. Brother Chen led the first group to meet them. Hand-to-hand combat began. Spears against machetes. Farm tools against iron bars. I gripped my hoe. Across from me stood a tattooed brute. He swung an iron bar at me. I sidestepped and swept my hoe across his knee. He fell screaming, and I struck again with the hoe. He stopped moving. That was my first time killing someone. No, protecting my family. Afei surprised everyone in that fight. Turns out he used to run with a crew and knew these guys' tricks. They're afraid of fire. He shouted. Set their escape route on fire. He led a few young guys around behind the enemy. They used diesel to torch the vehicles the attackers had parked. Flames lit up the sky. Explosions rang out one after another. With their escape cut off, the raiders panicked. They started to retreat. Caught in a pincer, they completely fell apart. The leader raised his hands in surrender. Don't kill me. We're pulling out. Get lost. Brother Chen pointed his spear at him. You won't be so lucky if you come again. They fled in disgrace, leaving behind a few bodies and some weapons. The cost of this prolonged battle was heavy. The outer wall was destroyed, needing to be rebuilt. 5 people were injured, 2 of them seriously. Sister Zhao worked all night to pull them back from the brink of death. The worst part was, we had consumed a third of our stored supplies. Food, medicine, diesel, all nearly gone. Everyone was left with psychological scars. Kids had nightmares. Adults were on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Was it worth it? Afei asked me. He had fought bravely in battle, but his hands were still trembling. I looked at the outer wall being rebuilt, because we held our home. Yes. The farm was no longer just a shelter, it was our home. Word got out. Base 47 had repelled the new order and captured their weapons. Other survivor camps started contacting us. Some asked for help, others proposed trades. We became famous. Xiaolin gave a wry smile, unsure if that was good or bad. It's good, I said. At least they know we're not to be messed with. That night, we feasted on the captured supplies. It was just a little extra meat, but everyone was happy. All the warriors gathered by the water and came into our home. Everyone spoke up. Under the moonlight, the farm looked especially peaceful. The outer walls were damaged, but they'd be fixed soon. We were wounded, but we were still alive. Most importantly, we had proven one thing: united people are invincible. Autumn arrived. The rice stalks bent low, a golden yellow covering 15 acres of fields. Every grain of rice had been hard-earned. This year's harvest was good. I stood on the ridge between fields, watching the heavy ears of rice, Brother Chun nodded beside me. At least we can get 8,000 jin of grain. 8,000 jin sounded like a lot, but for over 50 people it would only last a few months. Still, in the apocalypse that was a huge fortune. Looking back, these past few months had been tough. During the heading stage we were hit by plant hoppers. Those damn bugs. They clung to the rice stalks in thick clusters, sucking the sap. The pesticides were long gone, so we had to use old methods, burning mugwort. Sister Zhao came up with the idea. The smoke could drive away the bugs. We stayed up all night burning mugwort around the fields. Thick smoke billowed. Then we mixed wood ash with water and, ladle by ladle, splashed it onto the rice paddies. Our hands were swollen from the work, but we finally got the pests under control. The grain filling stage was even worse. We happened to hit a drought. The rice needed a lot of water to fill the grains. But the heavens wouldn't give a single drop of rain. The mountain springs' flow also dropped, just enough for drinking and livestock. Carrying water. I made a decision. We'd carry water from the mountain stream to irrigate the fields. The stream was a kilometer from the rice paddies. We had to cross a small hill. Each load of water was 60 jin. A round trip took an hour. Everyone took turns carrying water, from morning till night. Our shoulders were rubbed raw. We put on cloth and kept going. Our backs ached so much we could barely straighten up. We rested a bit, then went back to work. The worst were the wild boars. During the ripening stage, the rice gave off a fragrant smell. The wild boars followed that scent. A single adult boar could destroy an entire field. They didn't just eat, they also rolled around and dug traps. Brother Chen taught us to dig pits 3 meters deep, with bamboo spikes at the bottom. We dug over a dozen pits around the rice fields and covered them with branches. At night, we also beat gongs and drums. Wild boars are scared of loud noises. As soon as they heard the gongs, they ran. We took shifts banging all night long. The clang 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 echoed through the valley, as if telling everyone that we were guarding this rice field. Finally, the day of harvest came. I taught everyone how to use a sickle blade facing down. Grab a handful of rice stalks, cut them close to the ground, and tie 4 handfuls into a bundle. This was the method Grandpa taught me. Now I was teaching everyone. Bend over, cut, tie, stack. Repeat over and over. Our lower backs ached like they were about to break. Our hands were covered in blisters. But no one complained about being tired. For threshing, we used the foot-powered thresher Grandpa left behind. That old machine was 50 years old. Creaked and groaned, but it still worked. Come on, step here. I demonstrated, holding the rice ears against the drum. Pressing the pedal with my foot, the grains fell with a crackle and showered down. The kids picked up the fallen grains nearby, wasting not a single one. That was the old rule. Kids who gathered rice got extra rice porridge. Drying the grain required even more care. Freshly threshed rice has high moisture content and must be dried before storage. We spread the grain in the yard, no thicker than 5 centimeters. We turned it every 2 hours. What if it rains? Teacher Zhou Xiao worried. Everyone prepared bags, ready to harvest immediately if anything happened. Sure enough, on the afternoon of the 3rd day, the sky suddenly darkened with clouds. It was about to rain. Everyone rushed out, carrying brooms, dustpans, and bags, frantically gathering the grain. Someone slipped and fell into the pile. Covered in gold from head to toe, they got up and kept packing. The kids used their little hands to scoop grain into the bags. Not a single grain was thrown away. Just as the last bag was packed, the rain poured down. Everyone stood under the eaves, watching the rainwater wash over the empty yard, and they all laughed. That kind of survivor's joy was more precious than anything. Through Xiaolin's radio, we made contact with 3 other survivor camps. We had food. I said on the radio that we could trade, and soon got a response. This is base 23. We have medicine and want to trade for rice. This is base 35. We have batteries and tools. This is base 41. We have cloth and salt, so it's set at a neutral location. The abandoned Green Mountain Elementary School playground. Every Wednesday morning, each side sends representatives to trade. The rules are simple. No questions about background, fair exchange. For fairness, for the first trade, I brought Wang Chong and Brother Chen. Carrying 50 jin of rice, we went. People were already waiting on the playground. Everyone was cautious. Keeping distance, trading rice for aspirin. Already exchanged 2 boxes. Trading rice for batteries, 5 jin for 1 set. Deal done. The trading went smoothly. Although it's the apocalypse, everyone follows the rules. Maybe because in this collapsing world, trust is more precious than anything. In the midst of the joy of harvest, unexpected visitors arrived. A small team in camouflage appeared outside the farm. The leader was a regimental commander. In his 40s with firm eyes. Don't be nervous. We are a search and rescue team. He showed his credentials. Ordered to tally survivors. Establish a safe zone. Safe zone. Yes. A temporary camp has been set up in the city. It's protected by the military with ample supplies. We invite everyone to come. The farm fell into discussion. The zone meant safety but also meant abandoning this land. Staying meant continuing to face danger, but this is the home we built with our own hands. Let's vote. I said 1 vote per person. The vote was held on the threshing ground. Using corn kernels, yellow represents going to the zone. White represents staying. I didn't voice my opinion. To be honest, I was conflicted myself. Going to the safe zone was indeed safer, but looking at this land, at the freshly harvested rice, looking at the home everyone built together, the voting results came out. 2/3 chose to stay. We're fine here, Aunt Lee said. This is our home. Brother Chan said, it's the same everywhere. The key is that we're all together, Sister Zhao said. The commander understood our choice. You've done well, even better than some official safe points. He left a military radio, basic medicines, and a brand new 5-star red flag. You deserve this. Hold on. The country won't forget you. Before leaving, he quietly said to me, the outside world is rebuilding, but the process is tough. A self-sufficient place like this is actually safer. That night we held a harvest festival. A bonfire burned in the yard. The firelight reflected on everyone's faces. Aunt Lee made rice wine from the new grain, low alcohol but fragrant and mellow. Everyone got a small cup. Sister Zhao's free-range chickens finally came in handy, made into white-cut chicken. Served with scallion and ginger sauce. The taste made you want to cry. Wang Chong beat scrap iron into a gong and drum, thumping loudly. Children danced around the bonfire, adults clapped along. According to rural tradition, I led the worship of the earth god. On the offering table were new rice and chicken. I lit 3 incense sticks and bowed deeply. Thanking this land for sheltering us through the disaster, thanking our ancestors for leaving this blessed land, thanking everyone for letting us survive till today. Everyone bowed along. In the apocalypse, we understand gratitude better. I stood on the stone stool where Grandpa often stood, watching all this, the firelight, smiling faces, songs, and the granary full of rice. We not only built a material fortress but also a spiritual home. Grandpa, I said silently, do you see? Your farm has become Noah's Arkansas. The wind rustled through the rice paddies, as if Grandpa was answering, I see, child, I see. Early winter came especially early. Overnight, the temperature dropped 10 degrees. The leaves on the mountain hadn't even finished falling when a layer of frost formed. Even worse, a flu outbreak hit. First, a few children got fevers, then adults. Coughing echoed everywhere. The whole farm was like a hospital. Regular flu, Sister Zhao diagnosed. But in the apocalypse, even regular flu can be deadly. Her herbal medicine stockpile quickly ran out. The fever-reducing bupleurum was gone, and the cough-relieving loquat syrup was insufficient. As for Western medicine, it had long been a luxury. The worst was Brother Chen's mother. The old lady was weak to begin with. This time, her high fever wouldn't go down. She was delirious, could go at any moment. We must go to the county town, Sister Zhao said. The county hospital should still have medicine. The county town was 50 kilometers away. To get there, we had to cross the fallen zone. Last time, no one who went came back. I'll go, I said. I'm going too. Brother Chen's eyes were red. That's my mom. Count me in. Wang Chong raised his hand. And me. A Fei stepped forward. I froze. I'll wait a bit, Xiaolin said. I know a relatively safe route. 5 people, 1 repaired tractor, 20 liters of diesel, that was all we had. Before leaving, Li Shin handed me a pack of crackers. Eat on the road. Teacher Zhou Xiao passed over a cloth bundle. Inside were alcohol and gauze. In case he didn't finish. But everyone understood. If someone got bitten, at least they could treat it. At 4 in the morning, before dawn, we set off. The tractor's chugging echoed loudly on the silent mountain road. I drove. The others kept watch, each holding a weapon. Spears, machetes, iron bars. Once we left the mountains, the sight was chilling. All the villages along the highway were abandoned. House doors and windows hung wide open. Occasionally, bones were visible. Wrecked car hulks clogged the road in every direction. Some had been burned down to metal frames. Stop! Xiaolin suddenly yelled. Something was moving ahead. Zombies, 3 of them, wandering by the roadside. They heard the tractor and slowly turned their heads. Go around, I said, and swerved through the fields. The tractor bounced over the muddy ground, nearly getting stuck. Wang Chong and a Fei jumped off to push. We made it through. By noon, we reached a gas station. The convenience store door was open. Inside was a mess. Shelves knocked over, merchandise scattered everywhere. A large pool of blood behind the register. It had turned black. Someone pointed to a corner. An old woman. She was curled up, trembling. Don't come near me. Her voice was hoarse. We're not bad people, Xiaolin said, flashing his police ID. Not that it mattered much in the apocalypse. The old woman stared at us for a long time before slowly standing. I'm from the county hospital. Dr. Huang Deming. I've been hiding here for a month. Are there still people at the county hospital? I asked urgently. More than 20 medical staff holding out, he said, but shook his head. The hospital is surrounded. Those monsters are everywhere. Uncle Huang, that's what we called him, decided to join us. Staying here is just waiting to die, he said. The county town was more dangerous than we imagined. Hundreds of zombies roamed the streets, wandering aimlessly, turning only when they hit a wall. Like pinballs. The hospital was in the city center. The Red Cross sign was still there, but faded. The whole building was swarmed by zombies, dense at least 300. How do we get in? Wang Chong swore. I have a motorcycle license. I'm good. He pointed at a motorcycle by the roadside. I'll draw them away. You guys slip in. There was no better plan. A Fei kick-started the motorcycle. The roar instantly drew the zombie's attention. Come on, come get your grandpa. He sped down the main street, banging an iron bar against parked cars. Car alarms blared one after another, a piercing noise echoing across the scene. The zombies surged toward him like a tide. Go! We slipped in through the side entrance of the hospital. The scene inside was stunning. Over 20 medical staff were still working. No electricity, no water, they sterilized with alcohol lamps. Cleaned with rainwater, doing everything possible to treat survivors. You are? The head nurse stared at us in surprise. From base 47, here for medicine, Xiao Lin explained. Supplies are running low, a doctor said bitterly. Only 3 doses of antibiotics left. Fever medicine is almost gone too. 3 doses will do, Changgu said urgently. They gave us some basic supplies, 3 antibiotics, 1 box of fever meds, some gauze and alcohol. I'll go with you, Uncle Huang told his colleagues. There are over 50 people there. They need a doctor more. The evacuation went wrong. A Fei's motorcycle hit a patch of slick road at a turn. He crashed. Zombies swarmed him. No! We rushed over. But it was too late. A Fei's thigh had been bitten, down to the bone. Blood gushed like a fountain. Go! Go now! His face was pale. No! Changgu hoisted him onto his back and ran. We sprinted toward the tractor. Uncle Huang started the engine. We jumped into the trailer. Changgu still carried a Fei. His blood soaked Changji's back. Press the wound. Uncle Huang tightened a belt around a Fei's upper thigh. The bleeding temporarily stopped, but we all knew what this meant. Throw me off, a Fei said, his voice broken. Shut up, I yelled. You're one of us. The tractor broke down halfway, ran out of diesel, 50 kilometers to go. With 20 kilometers left to carry on foot, Brother Chung said we'd take turns carrying a Fei. Stumbling along, we had to take turns with the medical kit too. It got dark and we couldn't see the road. We just groped our way forward. A Fei started rambling. I'm sorry. Brother Chung, I'm sorry for before. Don't talk. Save your strength. Brother Cheng's voice was shaking. The last 3 kilometers were the longest. A Fei had lost consciousness, burning up. We didn't know how much longer he could hold on. Or if he'd suddenly turn. Finally, the farm lights appeared. We were back. Open the gate. The gate swung open and we rushed in. Start the surgery. Uncle Huang snapped into action. No operating room, so we used the barn. No surgical light, so we used flashlights. No anesthesia, so we made a Fei bite down on a wooden stick. We had to amputate. Uncle Huang's judgment was harsh but accurate. Otherwise, the infection would spread. Sterilize and begin the operation. That sound, the bone being sawed, turned everyone pale. A Fei passed out from the pain. Then woke up from the pain, then passed out again. The surgery lasted 2 hours. A Fei's left leg was severed from mid-thigh. Will he make it? Asked. It's up to fate. A miracle happened. Maybe because we applied the tourniquet in time, maybe because the blood loss stopped the virus from spreading. Fei didn't turn. He survived even though he lost a leg. But half the medicine was gone. The trip was too rough. Some meds fell out, some got ruined in the rain. Only 1.5 of the 3 antibiotics were left. Give it to the worst cases first, I decided. Brother Cheng's mother got 1 dose. Her fever finally broke. The remaining half went to a child with a high fever. Everyone else had to make do with herbal remedies. 2 old folks didn't make it. We buried them on the hillside behind the farm. No coffins. Just wrapped in straw mats. That night, I sat alone on the roof. As the leader, I had to decide who got the medicine first. That decision could mean death for others. That weight crushed me. When will spring come? Spring finally arrived. The snow on the mountains melted, trickling into streams. More importantly, the military radio brought uplifting news. Attention all surviving bases. The infection source has been contained. Cleanup operations in all areas have achieved decisive victories. Repeat, the infection source has been contained. Is it really over? Not yet, I said calmly. But the darkest days are behind us. Then came even better news. A farm designation. Jiangnan Province Survivor Base Number 47. You have been included in the National Reconstruction System. Supplies will arrive in 3 days. Number 47, that was our official ID now. Early morning 3 days later, the sound of rotors came from the sky. A helicopter appeared over the farm and dropped several large bundles. Everyone ran out, watching the parachutes drift down. The bundles held medicine, real antibiotics, fever reducers, anti-inflammatories, tools, brand new hose, scythes, shovels, and solar panels to charge the radio. Using the upgraded communication equipment, I joined a video conference for all provincial survivors. Dozens of base leaders appeared on the screen. Everyone had made it, everyone was rebuilding. Our terrorist defense system and points-based management were selected as excellent examples to be promoted across the province. When the meeting ended, the organizer announced, all bases, hold your ground. The nation is resuming production. Reconstruction is fully underway. The hardest time has passed. Victory will be ours. Spring plowing began. This time we'd plant 25 acres, not just rice, but also wheat, corn, and soybeans. Uncle Huang used his medical knowledge to guide nutritional balance. Wang Chong led the construction of a windmill to pump water with the valley breeze. No more carrying water by hand. Brother Chung trained a defense team, and Xiao Lin handled external communications. Daily scheduled calls with other bases to exchange info. The farm was like a small society, everyone had found their place. The most touching moment was the reunions after comms were restored. Mom! Aunt Lee sobbed on the video call, mother and daughter hugging through the screen. Fei even found a girlfriend. She was a nurse at another base. When she saw Fei had lost a leg, she couldn't stop crying on the video. Wait for me. Once the quarantine lifts, I'll come to you. Brother Chung got word from his comrades. They were still fighting across the region, mopping up the remaining zombies. Keep everyone safe. While we were in the meeting, Xiao Lin got in touch with our colleagues in the provincial capital. The police station is still running. They've been keeping order. You're our pride, the chief said. Watching everyone connect with their families, I thought of Grandpa. If he were still here, seeing the farm like this, he'd be so relieved. That afternoon, I went to Grandpa's grave. The grave is on the back hill, facing the farm. In the village way of saying, this is called being able to see home. I placed 3 things in front of the grave, a bowl of fresh rice, a cup of rice wine, and a bunch of wildflowers. Then I started talking. Grandpa, I'm back. Your farm is now Survivor Base 47. We've held 30 acres of land, and over 50 people have survived. Your diary was a huge help. That sluice gate saved all of us. You were right. This land won't betray those who treat it well. The wind blew, making the wildflowers in front of the grave sway. I planted a peach sapling beside the grave. Grandpa loved peach blossoms the most. Every spring he'd go to town to see the flowers. Next year at this time, the peach blossoms will bloom, I said. I stood up and looked at the farm. The sun was setting, smoke was rising from the chimneys. Kids were playing soccer on the newly cleared field, and the adults were busy in the fields, preparing for the new season's planting. The elderly were playing chess under a tree, using pebbles as pieces. The radio broadcasted good news of Reconstruction from all over. Somewhere had restored power, somewhere had reopened roads. I know it will take a long time to return to normal, maybe years, maybe decades. But that's okay. We have land to grow food, we have water to sustain life. We have each other to lean on. Most importantly, we have hope. I picked up my hoe and headed toward the rice paddies. The new season's transplanting is about to start. This time, it's not just for survival, it's for living. For rebuilding, for the future. Zhang Yuan. Wang Chong called from a distance. Come help. Coming. I walked quickly over and joined the work crew. On this land our ancestors once tilled. We will keep tilling it. Season after season, year after year. That's the farmer's destiny. And the farmer's pride. No matter how the world changes, as long as there is land, as long as there are seeds, life will go on. Just like this spring after the harshest winter, still arrived on time. The farm story continues. Every sunrise, every sunset, writes a new chapter, and we are the protagonists of this story.